Let's take a look at the tech.
That iPhone and that iPad.
That's one over here real quick. This is Christine. She's the main producer of the show. She does a great job. She actually has a microphone and a headset. She talks to me and Tess in our ear, so we can hear her as she talks. And you can see up here they've got a Skype TX unit, so they can Skype in live interviews. They've got a big rack system with some Blackmagic equipment and a really large TriCaster control panel there that's being used. And you can see that everything is looking really good over here. So
I think this is beeping.
That's our.
oh, that's okay.
Okay.
So that's that part of it. Come on over here. It's a lot of technology, and I'm not going to lie, it's more than probably 99% of our customers are ever going to need. But you can see here there's a live interview area where we have space for actual people to sit and watch. And we've actually had a packed house. Yesterday, esports was totally packed. The broadcast club was totally packed. And so I think Tess and I are doing a good job of picking topics that a lot of people care about. So thank you. It's nice
you guys are engaging.
We're engaging, but it's also nice to see like real people in seats sometimes, even though I know we have a lot of live viewers online, and we're so happy that you're here with us. But to see real people here, it just puts kind of a different type of... Now this is Judy. Okay, Judy is an amazing makeup artist, and she has been helping us look pretty, get the shine off our faces. What's your Instagram, Judy?
My Instagram is Jude Andam Makeup. It's JUDEANDAM.
There's the
and
card
the word
right there.
makeup. Jude at judeandam.com is my email. All my information.
Plug, plug, plug.
Thank you very much.
How fashionable she looks too.
Yeah. Christine's got the nice skirts.
Christine is the
does.
skirt she's got.
She's my skirts.
I can't.
That's one that was really good.
Paul is trying to bring
What's the other word
the
that you said?
lingo.
I can't even.
I can't even.
So what do you want to do first?
Might as well, you're here. Might as well.
And then do you want to do that run-in?
I do, but that we need to do what Mike's camera is like super.
You call them shut-ins. I say age out. Because people know the age, like the age out community. For whatever reason, you age out of being there. That's even better.
You'll find that with green really
I
mean, at this point, they've learned.
20 minutes. Yeah. Just you talking about.
You're watching NAB Show Live, produced by Broadcasting. Your host, award-winning technologist who specializes in media
Be as good as I can be.
in the technology sector.
You gotta remember, Tess, this is the face for radio, and I'm not the
Decided to have a true technology thought leader, Risa Rizzuto, the CTO of Real Networks. Sir, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure to be here.
I gotta say, of all the technologists I know, I respect you the most. You know that I love the bounce ideas off you. Hear the cool stuff you're working on.
I was like, oh God, what's my Instagram?
So, something that I'm sort of satisfied with.
One time we get that
The Real Networks, software that I had loaded on my computers in the other days, software that I played with music with, they had a large interest in that.
It's so calm.
So tell me about that.
It will be Tess' turn to go on the makeup chair soon.
So when you go live, do you do his makeup or does he do it himself?
I don't put makeup on him in Westchester. I should. Maybe I will start.
Tess,
What does the viewers think?
well, you wear lipstick in
I did
Westchester
put makeup on him
sometimes.
one time. I put makeup on me in Westchester.
Tom, he's just coming. He's just here.
Yes.
I have a feeling he'll take that unlimited
like
pretty good. I mean, obviously he's good at speaking on camera, so he'll do very well.
like for me, like my part's pretty simple. From the main side, we take your source into your brother.
It's pretty much a powered by brand, rather than emphasizing the consumer-facing application. It's now the technology that's in smart TVs, in cars, in numerous other devices, and so real networks powers that technology. And then what you've heard in the news recently is that real networks doubled down.
So that concludes the makeup for me, and Judy's going to bring either Tess or Jared or Tim. Now here's something I want to talk to you guys about. So what we do a lot of times is we try to come up with a really good topic, right? But Tess is really the organized one. And she puts together some of our icebreakers and some of our questions.
Make sure you bring up the Facebook.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the Facebook map, and on Sunday morning, looking at that, it's really an eye-opener when you see how many churches are live streaming. So we're going to try to help people understand. And, like, our job is to, I think, a lot of times frame up a subject for someone who has no idea what the topic is, and then we're luckily have enough time in a show like this to get into a high-level overview, show some of the topics, some of the interests of our guests, and then get into some of the nitty-gritty details. Geek out for a little bit, if you will. So this is like kind of what we do to try to stay on topic and get the most out of our interviewees. So so glad you guys get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes here.
And then, that was my section.
Business still continues, largely in China, but historically.
Some of the topics that they talk about are so interesting.
Because of NAB's strength in the record industry.
Do you guys know if we can eat while we watch the show?
I don't make the rules, but you should be fine.
Yeah.
Eat until they yell at you, then you just leave, right?
As long as you bring it back.
Can I get a little touch-up though? A little base?
So it's really, real with Napster is really the disruptive kind of bad boys of the internet that I like hanging out with, actually. So.
I guess
So the notes calm down for you now that you've done it a couple times. It's just the first one.
Yeah, the first one was, now that I've done it, I feel like it's
Trained professional. Now you're just trained professional. Fox
I
News,
didn't
here
know
you
what
come.
to expect. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. Is the mic still loud in your ears?
I actually turned it up because I couldn't hear them clearly what they were instructing me to do. That was the strangest part, that they're telling me to do something. And I'm like, okay.
I'm just trying to listen to two conversations at one time.
You just flew in and then held out.
Double cable up top. We're really going over the top of this.
We're actually streaming now. One of here was I want to show a couple things.
I see that our clients
So, one thing about the NAB show live that I find interesting is the fact that they are using pretty much all PTZ cameras. Now they're using all PTZ cameras for this production, not PTZOptics cameras, something I want to change. This up here is a zip line. Okay? So, I'm not sure how it works. I'd like to almost ask these guys, but essentially what it does is it flies from up there all the way into the show, which is kind of like a cube. There it is. There it goes. Talking about pan tilt zoom, right? I mean, in a way, that's what it's the fourth dimension, right? Got that y-axis. So it spins around, and then as it spins, there it goes. It shoots down. So clearly, somebody's playing with it right now. Here, let's come over here. So it flies down this right here, and then it shoots down onto the screen. Now there's also, if we come a little further over, also a camera teleprompter system that's on a track there. So when you watch the replay, you get a chance to look at some of the footage. You'll see in the very beginning, if they do it right, a fly-in cam shoots down, then the track that rolls, and then a cut to one of the 5 PTZ cameras that they have. So just to give you an idea of what's behind the scenes. I'll see you in a little bit. I'm going to go to the bathroom before the show.
Safety and security, and it's just recently the National Institute of Science and Technology ran a bake-off between 100 or so different facial recognition algorithms. Ours came out the top for live video. So yeah, it's a great hard work by our team. Facial recognition is super important, but to be able to do it for live video is very, very difficult. And in the same way that we took on the hard problem of streaming video when it was very difficult to connect to the internet, we took on the hard problem of solving facial recognition in the wild case. So what we mean by in the wild is when the person's not looking directly at the camera, they're moving in the wild. And so imagine, back to your original question, imagine now the facial recognition processing being used for live video for the OTT application. But for, let's say, live sports, or you've got a camera shoot on the red carpet runway.
So it's not just for security?
It's not just for security. No, I'm looking for broader applications for facial recognition.
Give me some examples of that.
Sure. So you see a lot of professional cameramen walking around with cameras, with backpacks in there. And I thought, wow, well, we could drop our facial recognition into that backpack. So they get a signal to say, hey, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company has just walked into your field of view. You might want to keep on it. Or cameraman at the Oscars might not know who the dean is.
Very well, but I'll sit on the edge.
We don't have to know those guys. Celebrity's a celebrity, man.
So, now live use cases, live sports, you don't have the opportunity to ship all the footage out to the cloud, like the SaaS providers do. So send us your footage and we'll batch process that. You can do that locally at the edge. Partition the process. So when we're up there, it's going to process the edge. In the cloud, you end up with a smarter solution.
I know there's been a lot of criticism about privacy and facial recognition. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so this is something we take extremely seriously. There is a responsibility to preserve the privacy of
Okay. Toodles. Hi.
Why doesn't Tom sit a little bit closer to Tess?
Tom's going to be...
I'll be next, or you can do Tess.
How are you?
Tom's first, Jared 2, I'm 3.
No, yesterday.
Sure, the same.
Michael Upshaw's not
I'm the
here.
turkey.
No, he's not.
Because they were confused. Because we didn't have all the right names on the list.
Oh, did you give him the changed name?
Yeah, Christine just came out.
It's unfortunate he got picked up. It's a kid.
I would say...
Something is sick.
Yeah, he's got plays this summer.
I wouldn't say I'm dead, but I'm...
You are.
I'd like to be recognize walking into the airport so that
Paul, so how is this switching going to go?
For what?
For us to...
Basically, so what'll happen is you can just sit down, whoever wants to watch from there will, because there is no access to this show on YouTube and Facebook. So you are providing access to millions
I have
and
to
millions
sit
of
here.
online viewers. Or you can just put the bag on your lap or something, and just point the camera at it or something. You might be able to hang the backpack on it, or just put it next to you.
I'll figure it out.
But the NAB show does not live stream to YouTube and Facebook. That's something that I'm trying to talk to them about. There's reasons why, but they are allowing us to get the footage at some point, post it on YouTube, post it on Facebook, so that everyone can really benefit from the learning. Because we have, Tess and I have done a lot of work trying to craft, not a curriculum, but a series of shows that are going to help specifically our audience. So we're talking about churches now, we're going to be talking about high school sports, and those types of series and videos where we can have a panel and guests are really important. So that's what we're doing now.
Explaining to the live stream. We're on live. Yeah, I hear the Skype call. Someone's Skype's going off.
It's yours.
There we go.
I wasn't the only one. I was hearing it too. I thought it was mine.
Stop going crazy.
I did. Tom Sinclair, everybody. Getting all done up with makeup. Yeah, we're live, which I have to wear the backpack or put it down somewhere.
So far this week, we have interviewed, this is kind of impressive, Rubley, LinkedIn Live, broadcast clubs of the 21st century, esports and Twitch. We're about to do the future of church production and live streaming high school sports.
Yeah, and then do you guys do a stream tomorrow? At 11?
One last stream. That's why I always want.
At 1.
11 a.m. maybe? No, 10 a.m. Eastern. 1 p.m. Pacific.
I won't be here.
4 p.m. Eastern. 1 p.m.
Yeah. 1 p.m. What is it? Pacific at 4 p.m. Eastern. And 3 p.m. Central.
Depends on which dimension.
I never thought that 3 hours would make such a difference.
2 p.m. Central. 3 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Pacific. No, 1 p.m. Pacific. Oh, I'm mixing up my numbers, people. Hello.
Am I beautiful?
Yes.
It helps. It does.
You like it. You like getting pampered.
I like the lip balm too, because my lips are chapped anyway.
Me too. But if you come to our booth, you can get a PTZOptics / PhotoCam's lip balm.
It's true.
I made emergency bags for everybody in Phoenix. They had lip gloss, hand sanitizer, Tic Tacs, and then we got some candy Band-Aids, ibuprofen, meds.
I didn't see Tim this morning.
He was on the show.
you know, for historical reasons, we kind of got squeezed out.
It's Tess for Testo's turn.
Where are your glasses? They're right here. I was hoping you were going to come back.
The old legacy codec, the real hard.
Shady. I don't know. This is like a billion colors in it. So, I mean, like, you're definitely on the, like, lighter, brown, dark color
The beauty about the codec is it decodes in software on a ARM processor.
I'll get to it.
So we can run.
Oh, the next person.
No, I need to see if I can change my flight first.
HDMI
Oh.
So the codec's doing well.
I would have to leave this like in the morning before wrap. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. How do you travel with that? Oh, I don't have the mirrors on mine. What about the makeup? The makeup? I check it. I check it like great. That nobody takes it and that it doesn't get broken. But that same palette. The yeah, this one? Yeah. I like it. But yeah, so I check it and I pray that it doesn't get stolen, it doesn't get broken. But inevitably something always does, so it's fine. But it's impossible to fly with it all. And but what I do fly with, I always fly with my brushes. Because I figure that I can always yeah, I can always go out and get more makeup. For me, I feel like that's... I drop your
I'm Jared. I'm next year at WFX.
And put out a press release that they will now be charging for TV for the free one.
They would take basically your spiel to me. I wouldn't really call it a spiel. I'd call it just probably just I'm sorry, you're just
Oh.
So with, I'm going to give you guys this question just to brief you on. What Tess and I have found nice is that if we can ask a question and then just go down the line. So you each get a chance to answer. So, what we'll maybe do is ping pong. So if, let's say Tom's on the left, and we say, Tom, answer this one, then it goes Tom, Jared.
so
Or if you're on the right, it could go Jared. Either way, just
you guys I said closest to Tess, and I have a real hard time.
yeah, that's a good idea. We're going to try to speak up. Let Tom go on the far right, and then however else you help him do that. The first question is, help us understand the power of live streaming and the opportunity it brings to churches. Help us understand anything, one thing, whatever you'd like. And then I want to ask a little bit about donations, online donations. And that is a kind of a trick question, because the way I'd like to ask that question is that, a lot of churches, why are they live streaming? You think it's online donations, but that's not necessarily the top priority.
Just got through fielding that really well.
Yeah, that's the
me.
So that's the way I'd like to structure that question. So it's like we're bringing it up, but we're actually kind of reflecting it and saying it's not the number one.
My two passions and my two preoccupations, the computer vision and the coding technology. And I think the use cases, the more use cases that actually can promote a social good and can
I'm going to be better on
the user experience rather than
so then the next is real world events. So there's a lot of churches all levels of experience.
Not a bump, but I mean like a little bump.
I like the lipstick.
Production platform.
The lipstick's very nice.
We're gonna flat iron.
I mean, that's all Tom right there.
Well, no, everyone has to say something. So you're going to raise the presentation side. We can talk about
Wirecast.
That's going to go on.
something up.
Tom's going to cover VMix.
Just talk about something. And then the power of social. And then finally, we're going to ask about social media. So, what has social media done the past few years for churches? Not just with live streaming, but reaching shut-ins, new members, younger demographics.
You already know what I'm going to say.
So, you have to prep.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
ping pong left to
I
right.
think the main two I would probably be the platform will advise. Obviously, the live streaming right up your alley.
you basically gave a 30-minute
Yeah.
one on why you would.
Like, if for me, the online donations part is the big one. It's one of the things that whenever we have new resellers, that's one
Paul,
of the things that we
I have an
always
idea. What I was thinking of taking
Online
this
donation,
off
really,
it
there's other ways-
and
there's
tying
other
it
ways
to one of the chair arms.
add revenue
To like
your
take it
share.
off the backpack, tie it, and then pull it up so you can see the whole thing. So then we don't have to like hold it or the back. Because if you sit it just in the backpack, it's not going to sit right. So let me go set that up. Do you want me to take your ID?
Also,
I'm
Melissa,
Jared, Paul, Tess.
Mike's not here, so I might need you to get the picture of everyone with the smartphone.
Yeah. Because I need to run back to the booth like a hot second.
I'm an industry leader in the world of big, complex video experiences, concerts, tours, live events, theatre and opera, and this is our first foray or our first push into broadcast. What this is a mixed reality studio environment. There's lots of augmented reality type technology out there with green screen, but this is full LED. You can actually see behind us. This is not projection, so as a presenter or a performer, you can see the world around you, get real-time lighting information on your face, and then if you look at the reference monitors, we're blended seamlessly into a CG world. We know that this is a big forum for the biggest forum for broadcast, and it's so important for us to be here and show this exciting new technology.
All right, thank you so much, Tom Rockhill from the skies at the 2019 NAB show.
Thanks a lot.
So talk about what you guys are doing at the show and the crowds that you attract.
Oh, well, I am so excited because, as you know, NAB has changed the attitude towards who is doing the stories. I think that Flote has been going into the media because we believe that the future belongs to the young people. Everybody is doing slow motion and things like that. So you have to go with the technology. This is the kind of advancements in technology. You have a television picture that also can do film and cinema lighting. We have German engineering and very good prices.
It's time for Monorail Moments. What are you doing at the NAB show?
It's my first time coming from college, just dipping my toe into the big car and seeing how it is. I especially like Black Magic. I went through there, had a great time, learned a lot. Definitely didn't have a whole lot under my belt going in, but came out with a lot more than I anticipated.
I do in-house hockey, in-house show jumping, rodeos, and then on the teaching side, I do live studio and control room work, and I'm in charge of post-production.
Wonderful. So what exactly are you looking for at the show?
Got to talk about 4K, got to talk about cameras, got to talk about switchers, got to talk about the whole package, right?
I'm really excited to be here to see what's late breaking in the industry. We're a vendor that supports the entire production, but I'm interested to see how content generation has changed and how video editing can change, because that's where we can make quite a bit.
Let's talk about TagVS and what you do and what you're all about.
What we do is monitoring an IP multi-viewer. It's only IP, meaning we input IP, we process IP, and we output IP. In the old days, you were always speaking about, okay, how many inputs do you have and how many outputs you can see. It's no more relevant when you deal with the IP world. The IP world, it's how many do you need? And you just need to calculate how much off-the-shelf hardware you need to run it. As you can see here, everything, all the formats can live in the same multi-viewer at the same time. We recently opened an office in the United States and recruited Bill Apker to be the VP of Sales.
One of our partners now, Arista, was like, you need to go see the guys at TAG. And we got up there and started looking at the monitor, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I've been doing this forever. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to see what we can do next.
I don't know if the camera can see it, but everything that you see here on the wall, it's running on small 4 dongles. Our software and all the wisdom we provide, it's on small dongles. And this is actually a game changer in the industry. Today, when you are based your technology on off-the-shelf hardware, and you have just the software to run the off-the-shelf, so they get it, and they're starting to understand that the world has been changed in that aspect.
Abe Zerbib and Bill Apker of TagVS, thank you so much, and I wish you a really successful NAB show.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Good to see you.
Barbara Lane from Simpty is here. How you doing, Barbara?
I'm doing great. How are you, Ryan?
Doing excellent. So what's your story?
Well, this is my 10th NAB. Everybody likes to count how many. It's my 10th. And Simpty has been a part of NAB forever, way longer than I've been here. Simpty, after 103 years, we're still all about the art and science of storytelling, and we're among our peaks here, so it's great. And we're doubling down now. The board just approved a really heavy investment in a new strategic business plan. So Simpty is here for the long haul, and we're really excited about all the work we're doing in terms of the standards. Our education is really popping now, and so we're running on full steam. We get to meet all of our members who come from around the world. They come here to NAB. It's a great opportunity for us to do that, and it's crucially important for us. So strong NAB. It means great business for us.
Awesome. Have a great show. Barbara Lang, Simpty. So how many times have you gone to NAB?
Well, this is my first time ever. I'm going to tell you right now, super excited to be here.
All right. So what excites you the most about these halls and what's going on in all of them?
Well, I really, from the moment we walked in and with the whole theme about telling your story, you know, as the head of in-house production at Volkswagen America Marketing, it's been really exciting to see the theme of storytelling really being embraced by everyone here, whether it's, you know, content producers coming together and talking about the way that they tell stories, or visiting the plethora of manufacturers and seeing what new wares, what new hardware they have available to tell those stories, to, you know, just even swapping stories with, you know, creators, young and old. And it's great that we're able in one spot visit everyone that touches every part of our production and see, you know, what they have going on, what's new in their future, and to then walk away thinking about not only what's new in the industry, what's coming up, but also take back how that can affect us.
Wow. Patrick Foe, Volkswagen, have a great show.
Great. Thank you very much.
So check out The Beat on NABshow.com. We're going to have new episodes every day. This hour sponsored by Roughly, the video news agency.
This is NAB Show Live.
Hello and welcome back. You are watching NAB Show Live, brought to you by Broadcast Beat. I'm Tess Protesto.
And I'm Paul Richards, and today we are so excited to be talking about House of Worship live streaming. I can't believe, if you've ever seen the Facebook Live map on a Sunday morning, the amount of churches and houses of worship bringing the message of God to the world is absolutely incredible. And we've put together a panel of experts to talk about what experts are talking about and also what new beginners should be thinking about. So we have Tom Sinclair, the CEO of Eastern Shore Broadcasting. We have Jared Harris from Easy Worship and Tim Colbeck from Mobile Video Devices to help us talk about some of the most pertinent issues with live streaming in the House of Worship space.
Absolutely. Well, what I want to start with today is how to understand the power of House of Worship live streaming, kind of where it stands, and maybe what we see for the future. Tom, we'll start with you.
Well, the power is absolutely amazing. I think this technology is divinely ordained and was not something that we invented, but something that we discovered, that was set out in front of us to accomplish the purpose of bringing a message to the lost, the sick, the brokenhearted, the ones that are stuck at home. And I think that's the power of this medium.
Yeah, and how technology has brought us there, certainly.
Absolutely.
What I see in the live streaming venue of spreading the message is the ability for the younger generation to take part in church that may not necessarily attend churches like the general, the older generations do. They're used to, live streaming. They're used to doing the Snapchats and the Facebook and so forth. So for them, it's just a natural evolution to be able to partake in some of the church community without maybe being able to attend church, but maybe it's also a way to get them to come into the church.
And I really feel like the technology, the way that it's changing the church itself. I think the ability just to communicate on a much broader audience, to be able to reach people that maybe homebound, maybe deployed out of country, overseas, things like that. I think to be able to stay engaged with your home church and for your home church to also spread the word, I think is really where the importance of that streaming medium is.
So we were all at the WFX show in Orlando, Florida this year, the largest technology expo in the United States and I believe the world. And there were a lot of companies talking about digital donations and churches actually accepting donations online, which seems interesting, but I don't believe it's the number one primary reason why churches are live streaming. Tom, why don't we start with you? What is the primary reason you think churches, I mean, there's more than one obviously, but what are the ones that bubble to the top on why so many churches are live streaming?
Definitely it's go for the money. No doubt. It's go for the big bucks. No, I think that ought to be the last thing on the list. It is the response of the giver to give based on need, based on their response to what they've been given. And until they've been given something, there's not, I don't think, a prompting to give. So, let's put that one down on the list a little bit.
So, with that being said, after talking to many churches, I think at the top of the list is actually the ability to reach folks who maybe are members of the church who simply are traveling with their kids going to school, or perhaps they are shut in or they can't reach. They're homebound because they're in surgery, for example. They've just been in recovery mode, and now larger members of their church can actually participate and be part of that. So I think that's really the primary reason. Is that what you're seeing out there?
You're talking to me? Yeah, I think so. And as somebody that's going through the aging process, and I'm looking off into the future, and I'm saying, one day I'm not going to be able to go to church. I'm going to miss out on a big part of my life. And to be able to sit at home, if I'm bedridden or whatever it might be, and be able to participate just by seeing what's going on, it's really going to bring a lot of comfort to me. Plus, there's going to be the message, but it's the community that I'm going to miss. And I think the live stream, it's not going to replace it, but it's going to help lessen the loss a little bit.
What do you think, Jared?
I'm going to actually follow that up a little bit and say that, traditionally people, when they think about church, it's either a Wednesday night or a Sunday morning. But there's so many other events, as we talked about at LiveView, that are occurring in the church that are throughout the week or throughout the evenings or Saturdays or, any other kind of event. And with live streaming, it gives them an ability to show that to the audience or to the community or to their members or anybody else at any time of the day, and they can go back and watch it at any time. So I think the live streaming really opens up the door more than just those 2 days a week.
To kind of follow up on that a little bit as well, with our church integrators, we see a lot of small churches, a lot of big churches really gathering attention when there's times of crisis where a pastor can very easily go on with vehicles like Facebook and YouTube, very quick little messages of faith. They can publish, wherever they want to kind of renew faith in their church members, but also in other people that may just come across these videos on YouTube. And from these videos, we do see smaller churches attracting people that maybe have moved across country, things like that. So as a chance to also grow your online presence, it also gives you a chance to increase your presence that comes and visits you every week.
Yeah, we touched on a little bit of the why houses of worships are looking into live streaming. Let's touch on the how. What types of technology are you seeing being used to implement these types of live streams, Jared? I'd love to hear from you with your streaming platform.
With live streaming or even a live presentation event, there's multiple aspects that can come into play. You've got inputs such as Magewell, bringing in content from any kind of external device. You've got camera feeds that are coming from companies such as PTZOptics. But then you got to add content on top of that, such as lyrics or scriptures or any other content that you want to, add some enhancement to it. So I think that with that technology, you can start to really grow that presentation to output to other companies such as vMix that can then pass that on out to the global community via the internet.
Yeah, and easy worship is kind of a great way to do things like
Absolutely.
lyrics
Absolutely.
and have
Yeah.
displayed content and presentations for some type of congregation.
Yeah, like I said, you bring in the camera feeds or any other content, we can add some context to it with some lower thirds or some text in regards to either the presenter or whatever's happening in that event. And then, like I said, pass it on to the next downstream system, which would be the streaming software.
Tom, I know you run your church's live stream, am I right? Or have you passed that duty on?
Nope, I run it.
And what are you
I love it. And I wish we were using your software to feed the lyrics in, because I know folks at home were like, oh man, I sing along, because nobody else is here and they wouldn't hear me sing. But I don't remember the words. And so, but the ability that you guys have to send it out NDI, which means I can pick it up over the network with no extra cabling and make it part of my vMix production to be live streamed. In this case, we're live streaming to Facebook Live. We archive to YouTube, but we're going to Facebook Live, and I think we're going to talk about some of that social media in just a second.
So I think from the hardware side of church streaming, I think we're really in an exciting time. The cost of cameras has come down significantly. The cost of production systems has also come down. It makes streaming very affordable for churches of any budget. For just a few $1,000s, you can go with a very high-quality PTZOptics camera, a Magwell dongle, into a laptop running vMix for a very professional streaming system on an entry level. We also have the scalability. We can do a 5-camera setup with a custom-made machine from Tom running a high-end version of vMix. We can add some of the easy worship presentation to have a really full production, full studio value, and we can still do that relatively affordable.
So I want to talk a little bit about social media. It's changed quite a bit over the past few years. I think it was only 2 or 3 years ago when Facebook even started. And with that being said, there's a huge shift just across the whole culture and communication shift in general. And I think churches are generally organizations that are a little bit slower to react than others. And I'd like to ask a little bit about the effect of social media, what churches are using it well. Do you have any tips on how social media can be a vehicle for success for churches?
I'll take that one first. Okay. Here's our plan. Every Sunday morning, we're telling folks before they mute their cell phone, and don't forget to mute your cell phone, take a moment and check in that you're at church. And people are going to wonder, what kind of church would have you as a member? So your friends are going to go and look up your church's site, your church's Facebook page, and well, wait, there's a live stream going on right now. I can look into their church and see what's going on. So suddenly this friend that, an announcement has popped up on their feed that you're in church, and now they get to look inside your church, and they get to be a little bit of a voyeur, but in a good sense, and see, is this a safe place that I might enjoy? Do I have a need that this church might fill? And I might even get an opportunity to hear a little bit of the message, and that message might resonate with where I am at this very moment. And so suddenly, just a simple act of checking in on your phone to Facebook has enabled one of your friends to have an experience or receive a word that they would not have otherwise been able to get. I think there's a lot of beauty just in that move. I mean, you can talk about what goes on beyond that, they might actually visit the church, or they may call the pastor, or other things might happen. But for that very moment, I mean, we're talking about, 5 minutes worth of time on a cell phone could have a life-changing effect. I really think that's true.
Wow, that is an amazing tip. How about you, Jerry?
I stole it from somebody else.
Facebook clearly has an enormous reach across the world to pull people in to follow along with the community or to spread the message of whatever they're trying to get across. But what I've noticed is on social media, people tend to let their social guard down a little bit and be a little bit more open. They start to interact with people a little more than they would in a personal situation. And so I think it gives that opportunity for people to partake in the community of their church or other churches and actually have a real conversation with people they may not have actually in person.
I think Tom hits it really 100% on the head. With Facebook especially, we notice that the more members that check in, the more activity in general, that is pushed towards that church. Aside from things like your regular Sunday services, maybe there's youth ministries, different events throughout the church. The more that those are streamed, the more that those are checked in, tagged, just really spreading that word really helps the church gain visibility online, which generates to the church gaining visibility in person as well. So from highlighting some of the activities, some of the fun things in the church, I think you can, really kind of grab some of the younger generation where, maybe they kind of think of it as, grandma and grandpa, that older part of church. Well, church is young and new and exciting, so let's make it part of our social life and make it part of our daily life.
Absolutely.
Going off of that with social media, I think it's interesting some of the opportunities that have arisen. Is that a proper term? I'm not quite sure. With online donations. So Facebook, for example, is a great opportunity to help nonprofits and houses of worship alike, if they're, registered as a 501c, that's what it is, to go ahead and apply a donation button directly into their live stream. Have you guys seen that? Are you doing that?
No.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
That's on Facebook, and then on the YouTube side, YouTube and Google, who owns YouTube, also has another service called YouTube Super Chat for Good. And if you are a registered nonprofit for YouTube, you can also generate donations that way. I personally believe it is a great way to increase first-time donations, which are important for churches, because sometimes those first-time donations turn into recurring donations, which is the lifeblood of the church generally. Let me ask you guys about some real-world advice, because I know with churches there's those who are volunteers who are maybe still in high school or even younger, and then there are those who obviously have a lot of experience. For those who are the volunteers and those who are a little bit more unexperienced, give us some real-world advice for these folks who can help them kind of find their way and be successful.
Well, I think especially for a church that's just taking this on for the first time, and they're putting together volunteers to staff this event, I really think the temptation is to look at the technology first and get excited about the technology. But I think long-term, they're best served by making sure that everybody else in the church is involved or at least aware of what's going on. I mean, people are down on what they're not up on. And the last thing you want to do is spend a lot of time and energy to introduce something into the church and then have church members become offended by it. I mean, you never know who's in a witness protection program and they're having their face on the screen. All of a sudden, it's going to put them in a dangerous situation. Can it happen? Not likely, but it only takes once to make it an absolute disaster. So to communicate to the church what's going on and get some feedback. I knew one church that even, they put a little line across the middle of the sanctuary and said, if you're behind this line, you're not going to be on camera. If you're in front of it, you're going to be on camera. Other churches had put a little sign in the back of the church that you walk by that said, hey, this is being live streamed. We want you to know because it could impact you. So I think that kind of communication with the rest of the congregation, with the rest of the folks, to know what's going on is really, really important. It's one of the first things out of the box.
I think the key temptation for some churches that come to shows like this is they see all this great technology and all these cool things that are being done, and obviously they want to put those in place. But you really need to step back and think about what you're capable of for the size of church you are. You need to make sure that you put something in that's simple to use because, as you said, you're using volunteers. So you need to make sure that what you're looking for can be accomplished with a product that can be used by the people that you have available to take advantage of that product. But you also need to make sure they have a support system within the church when they have questions or when they need help because they are volunteers. And you also need to make sure that they're supported and that they understand their role within the church with that product or whatever that thing is that they're working on. Great.
I think that's 100% right. I think when we talk about the technology that's implemented in the church, I think we really need to be aware of who is doing the production, who's running the system. You'd be surprised how quick a 5-year-old can, download 3 mortgage payments worth of apps. So I think it's really important that we, focus on who's going to be doing the production. What are the capabilities of the staff that we have on hand? The technology, we can, at price points, we can go really high, really low end. really low end to really high end, and I think a really big part of it is finding the right partner. Someone like Tom that has a big background in the industry and can really work with you. You really need a trusted advisor. Unfortunately, I see a lot of churches that are oversold hardware that they ultimately don't utilize because, they're an A-level church and this is A-plus level gear. So I think really a good partner to help with your integration and then with your streaming goals, I think, is key.
Something that I think about, it's on my little list here, though, but we get asked a lot by customers who are using streaming for house of worship services as copyright issues with the music. Do any of you have any insight on that, on workarounds or licensing or way to achieve that, especially with displaying lyrics? Is there any issues with copyright infringement?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question.
I know that it's a little louder.
I can't hear anything.
That's because of that.
I was just wondering, because we get asked a lot about copyright issues with house of worship music being streamed.
Yeah, there's actually companies out there such as CCLI Song Select that you can request to be a member of, and you pay your royalties to that, and they will cover the churches for whatever the songs or lyrics that they're using within their services.
Yeah, I've actually know a little bit about that because I wrote a book called Helping Your Church Live Stream, and I wanted to make sure there was a chapter on copyright because everyone asks. The CCLI allows you to have copyright for projecting lyrics, which many churches obviously do, actually singing the songs, and even a recording and streaming and podcasting license as well. One of the troubles that a lot of churches deal with is that Facebook and YouTube are still probably going to give you a copyright strike when they hear copyrighted music. So there's still some things in the streaming industry that are moving slower than we'd hope. But churches are really giving a great message out to the world. I can't believe every Sunday when I see how many. If you just look at Facebook.com/livenap, and you'll just see all over the world hundreds and hundreds, thousands.
That was kind of a shock factor for you.
I couldn't believe
how many customers are doing it. It's really interesting.
So we just have a few minutes left, and I wanted to ask you guys about some stories, some happy stories about churches that are really, because I think that sometimes when the church is thinking about live streaming, there's somebody in the church who's championing the idea. They're saying, I think this is going to be a great idea, but not everyone's really on the same page, and the communication might not yet be there. I know that I've talked to many churches, and I have some stories of my own, but I'd like to hear from you guys. Has there been a time when you've heard of someone, in a church in Coatesville that we work with, there was someone who was in surgery, and she couldn't make it to the church, but a pastor who was her pastor when she was a child had flown in and was there for just that weekend, and she was still able to watch. So things of that nature I hear all the time. Are there any stories that you can share that's maybe a little bit moving?
Specific applications even.
Well, I always have a story.
We know.
I have a good friend, Alan, who is a member of a church up in Wisconsin. It's a small town, and they have been live streaming for, 6 or 7 years. Back started with standard definition equipment, all secondhand equipment. And they have developed a wonderful online following. And in their particular Christian tradition, monthly communion is a big deal. And so what they've done is they've gone out and they've built communion kits that they send to all their online viewers. And so that when it comes time in the service to do that, those online viewers can participate with everybody else. And he said, the feedback from that has just been terrific. It has helped enrich and make those people feel a part of what's going on. It's not a single organization, a single individual with a single story, but it's sort of this outreach that the church does to make sure that online congregation feels welcome and included. And Al, if you're watching, good job.
What I always think is cool to hear is, in a church when there's a baptism, the family always wants to be part of it. They always want to be there to see it. They always want to experience that experience with them. But that may not be actually the case that could happen. There may be family that's across the country or another state or just couldn't make it to the event. But with technology such as NDI, you can have a camera or a phone that's just recording that content near the baptism, send it to a product like ourselves or straight to vMix, and that goes right to the web. So anybody can be part of that event and not miss anything in regards to it.
And I really feel like with the technology, you know, we hear a lot of what the feel-good stories for me are like the baptisms, the weddings, the things like that where, you know, maybe it's grandparents because of their age, or it's, you know, maybe someone's just on vacation. But it gives them the chance to, as an individual, be connected to their personal family, but then also their extended family in the church for things like baptisms, weddings. We hear a lot of people that have family that's overseas. So that people overseas, they're able to remain engaged in the church and help build an online congregation through the people that they're deployed with. So then we see these churches come back, and as these service men and women come back, instead of one person coming back to the church, families come back to the church. I think this the way that we can stay connected. I think that's the important part.
Yeah, I think there's so many amazing things happening online for churches, and I read Church Production magazine every month. I don't know if anyone else does, and I read stories about technology directors really taking pride on the fact that they're extending the church's message outside the barriers of their four walls. And I think that's really incredible. Tom, your story echoes that quite well, where they've kind of, 6 years into it. I feel like what happened for me, if I can give you just a little history, I think that like 4 or 5 years ago, churches were thinking, why should we live stream? We want people to come into the church. We don't want to stop people from coming in, so there was a fear. Then Facebook came out 2 years ago, so now we're getting a little closer to the current day, and churches were having so much success that there was kind of a wave, and I don't know if you guys felt that wave, but now, today, in current time, it's hard to find a church that's not doing some type of video or streaming. Can you tell us a little bit about, maybe just give us a brief history of like where things have come? In the past few years, what's changed, what people are doing?
I'm drawing a blank on that one. I know that's hard to believe, but I'll pass. For me, it's not necessarily going to be live streaming, but in church production as a general. It wasn't not too many years ago that it was just overhead projection with the old school, sheet of paper that was transparency sent to the screen so that the members could follow along with the hymnals or the scripture that was being presented by the pastor. And then from there, we went on to having text on projectors and video backgrounds, and now we're at full production, which is camera feeds that are being IMAG with lower thirds. So the technology that has changed has just been enormous in the last 15 years from what we saw in the early 2000s, and it continues to grow at such a fast pace because churches are starting to see what's capable of being done by shows like when you come to NAB, see that the capabilities that they're doing in these large networks can be brought into some of these venues at churches with solutions that may not be quite as expensive as what you see. Like you said, some that you offer, we offer, you offer. So I think the technology that churches have gained in the last 15 years has been insurmountable.
All right, thank you so much, guys, for participating in this with us. You have been watching NAB Show Live, brought to you by Broadcast Feed. Up next, sports streaming.
Stick around, guys. This is going to be a great show. We're so excited. The 2019 NAB Show here at the Las Vegas Convention Center. See you soon. Stick around.
This hour sponsored by Roughly, the video news agency.
This is NAB Show Live.
I'm Ryan Salazar, and today we have Martin Gates, Global Director of Product Development at Densitron. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Thanks so much for being with us. So what factors prompted Densitron, traditionally a component manufacturer, to enter the broadcast market?
Well, Densitron, who are now part of the QuickTime PLC group, were traditionally provided components, display solutions across various horizontal applications. For touchscreens, display solutions, high quality touchscreen and embedded platforms. And one of the vertical markets that these applications touch a number of factors. They coalesced to a board-level strategy, and a decision was made to fully go into the broadcast vertical. These factors include the size of the total addressable market, which is quite a large market for broadcast technology vendors, and we were looking at control and monitoring solutions, particularly as a segment. And we have the ability to leverage advanced single-board computing technology, which was gained through experience in the broadcast gaming market. And that's through the technology. And also, really, it's the quality components that are associated with broadcast television, that really high quality, that Rolls-Royce quality that we want to go after. And then finally, there's emerging opportunities for the advanced and hybrid control services of the future. And that's actually part of a more widespread global trend in the human-machine interface.
All right, so the interest in HMI is growing within the broadcast industry. So how is Densitron utilizing HMI to play in the market? What benefits does it bring?
HMI mix text, the human-machine interface, is a well-established field. At a very specific problems in science, human factors, engineering, and computer science. Densitron's been supplying display solutions for decades, and in recent years we started to develop HMI solutions, initially through the addition of haptics to our touchscreens to provide sensory feedback to operators and engineers. And as a solutions provider with a deep technology on the supply side, we have access to a number of innovative developments associated with HMI, displays, and touchpads.
This hour is sponsored by Roughly, the video news agency.
This is NAB Show Live.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Hello! Welcome back to NAB Show Live, brought to you by Broadcast Feed. I'm Tess Protesto.
And I'm Paul Richards, and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about live streaming high school sports, because high school sports have really taken off in the past few years, and we just interviewed broadcast clubs just yesterday, and we thought this would be a great follow-up session to talk to some experts in the field who know quite a bit about what high schools are doing today to help broadcast their athletic department programs.
Absolutely.
So we have Jim Bask from Broadfield Distribution, we have J.D. Fox from Presto Sports, and we have Jeff Sasagawa from Sling Studio. Thank you for being here, guys.
Thanks a lot. Our pleasure.
Now we could just do a brief introduction of you each, and then we'll continue.
Sure. My name is Jeff Sasagawa, Director of Products at Sling Studio. Sling Studio is the industry's first portable and all wireless switcher production unit to allow you to stream live sports as well as doing other live events.
J.D. Fox from Presto Sports. Everybody here knows this is Stretch Internet. We went through a rebranding this year, so re-education for everybody. But we are a CDN in the high school and college sports space in North America, U.S. and Canada, basically.
And I'm Jim Bass with Broadfield Distributing. We're a distributor for live production and live streaming products. And we have dealers all over the country that are selling to high school sports, college sports, minor league sports leagues all over the country.
So sports streaming is one of the most popular forms of live streaming, in my opinion, probably because it's just perfect for live. Everyone wants to see the goal, they want to see the video unraveling in front of their eyes, and everyone's kind of used to watching sports on professional television, but now some of the same quality is coming to high schools. I think it's just happening in the past few years. So tell us a little bit about the technology that high schools are using to produce school sports. We'll start with you, Jeff.
Sure. So many high schools are using our product and other products, but with this Link Studio, what we allow and what other products allow you is to have the instant replay. So you have that ESPN NFL experience or MLB experience, but it's also about multi-camera. It's about having cameras not only behind the plate or panning from above, but it's in center field and be able to have that MLB shot from the center field to the pitcher and to the catcher. It's also having the roving cameraman on the sidelines, being able to capture the athletes coming off the field, celebrating with their fellow athletes or during a timeout. And so also about the interaction. That's the one last thing I would say is it's not just like linear sports where you're watching it, listening to the commentators. It's about interacting with the fans. So if you're streaming on a service like a YouTube or Facebook, for example, the fans throughout the entire country and sometimes throughout the globe are interacting, and it's like a high school reunion. So it's a very unique experience in addition to the multi-camera experience that you get with these Link Studio.
And really what we've seen in the last few years is with the technology advancements, NDI especially, and things in wireless technology like Link Studio, what it's done is it's brought that price point down to where it's approachable for a high school to do it. And it's not just a single camera panning back and forth on a basketball court. You can get multi-camera and you can get it portably and be able to show all of those angles that you expect from a professional broadcast, even at the high school level.
And we see with our dealers that the interest in these sports programs have taken this technology out from the fields into the classrooms and multimedia labs and other areas of the school as well. So you can take a Link Studio application or a PTZ camera and have that now become the case study that's being used all over the building, and which creates a much larger install.
That kind of leads to my next question. How has the technology changed recently? I mean, has it been over a long period of time? But it seems like things are a little bit more portable now, so you don't have to have a set streaming system in each application. Is that something that you can speak to?
Yeah, so a lot of our customers we've seen, they used to bring out a production truck to the baseball game or to the football game or some other basketball game, and it was a large crew, a large ordeal. But with the portability of products like ours, Link Studio and others, you can just carry in a backpack the whole studio equipment with your cameras. You don't have to drive a truck out to the venue, and you can just set it up within 5 minutes because it's all wireless. There's no cables involved, and the crew doesn't have to drive the truck back to the studio. They can just go home because there's no truck, and all the content, all the storage is in one device. So it really has changed. It's not just about the form factor, it's about the portability and being able to have it a wireless, easy setup.
The one thing we may forget about is the networks at these schools. It took a while for that infrastructure, especially in the public sector and the public high school space, to get to where they had ease of use with internet at their athletic venues. So that was kind of the foot in the door to start everything, is we had to get that up, and now that those schools are very connected, now you've got a chance in a setting, like if you're using NDI and you've got networked classrooms, you can have a presentation from one classroom, you can have a presentation from another classroom and show it in the auditorium. So what that's led to, back in my day it was the newspaper, but now there's the opportunity for these students to learn about video production, and it's exciting. It's what they see in their everyday life. So that's been the big change, is just getting those high schools connected, really.
And I would agree with that completely. Jeff, I think one of the reasons your system fits into a backpack is because the camera link is wireless, and you don't have to roll 300 feet of SDI cable to cover a football field. Now you add new PTZOptics technology that you were referring to and the robust networks being installed in these schools. Paul and I just went about a month ago to visit a high school in the Bronx, New York, and they're streaming from their basketball court to a control system on 3 stories above, where a student is at the control station actually producing their stream. So it's pretty amazing how that technology has really come a long way.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Jim, because one of my next questions was about the students. I feel like all of this technology making it into high schools is not just for the parents at home, although they do benefit, and I think it's not only is it great for the athletes, right, who are, some of them are getting scholarships, getting introductions to scouts, and we heard some stories about that. Not only is it great for the parents at home, but I really think that it's great that the students can benefit from learning about how to use the technology, to your point, JD. Maybe I'll go back to you for this one, Jim, because we got to see it firsthand in the Bronx, New York at the SAR High School. It's really about the kids sometimes, right? Can you tell us about what we saw with the student operators and the experience that some of these students are having operating the cameras and the different gear?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. The school we went to has a video club where the student was controlling the camera on the basketball court. They had other students commentating the game and, of course, the athletes on the floor. So now you have 3 different groups of very different students in the school developing life skills. As the marketing person for Broadfield Distributing, I wanted to hire some of those kids on the spot to do our own productions. So it really is a great school activity to really involve everyone.
Yeah, and really when you think about it, 10 years ago, if it was a high school sports production, it was a local production company doing it. And now it's in the hands of students. So then that's bleeding up as well. So we have smaller colleges that may go to a smaller college that's maybe doing very simple streaming, but they get all this experience from high school and they up the level of production the next place they go. They decide they want to continue to do that, and now they're in our industry. Yeah. So it's really a building block approach that used to start at the college level that's really bleeding down to high school level.
Yeah, I agree. Having the students be able to be the camera operator, to be the switcher, the director, is exciting for them. It's a lot of fun. It's more engaging. But I would say it's also with Sling Studio, we've watched these kids not only cover the games, but for recruiting, as you mentioned, for the most part, parents are in the stands with an iPad recording and trying to do it for recruiting videos. But with Sling Studio, you can not only get that pan shot, but you get close-up shots, end zone shots, roving, and that now the recruiting videos that people use with Sling Studio are close-up or on one athlete or a team, but it's the right view as opposed to a parent in the stands on the that's several hundred feet away. So it's really enabling recruiting as well as better footage. And then I would say even for the social media, allowing high schools to monetize their live games and have different views and different perspectives.
Yeah, and I wonder if those same students that are streaming the morning announcements and school broadcasting are also doing the sports.
Yeah, we find the two groups that are covering it. If the school has a broadcasting class, a videographer class, they are the same group that's covering the high school sports, the talent shows, and they're offsetting the community TV stations that have to choose between one of the 10 schools to cover. So it's not just the broadcasting class covering one sport. Because our product is so portable, they are now covering not just football and baseball, but water polo, diving, swimming, all these other sports because it's so easy to set up.
And I can imagine that the same opportunity that having this on-demand content or live content for sporting athletes to get scholarships, maybe the same opportunity is being presented for these students that are looking into going into broadcasting. I wish I was able to put that on my resume before college. I mean, that would have been amazing.
Exactly.
I think really we're seeing high school students create reels of their work and submit it to their journalism program, which sounds crazy. I mean, before you looked at their GPA and they want to study journalism, great, but now you actually have some competition at some of these journalism schools because of that.
So So I know we talked about sports, but I want to ask about esports. Just a little bit. One question here. We'll get back to regular high school sports because I think that a lot of that is important. But how is esports changing the game? Because it is something, we actually had a panel on it yesterday. We dug into real deep into the topic. But have you seen, is that reaching into the high schools? Because it seems like a lot of students are playing these video games and now they're getting the opportunity to compete at a national level. Have you guys, can anyone give us a little bit of insight? Maybe Jim, we can start with you on the esports side of things.
So some of the feedback we get from our dealers is that esports is still a very competitive field. And because it's based on competition, they're getting a lot of the production inspiration from watching ESPN and other sports coverage. So they're duplicating the instant replay, the zoom in, the commentator, the color commentary. If you watch Overwatch League, the coverage is no different than any other competitive sporting event that you see the exact same way.
And that's why you see at the college level, it's the athletic departments that are leading the charge. They have the esports team and they treat it as an athletic team. So that's bled down to high school because that's a great scholarship opportunity for them. So, and really they're learning the technology early on because when you're an early adopter, when you're starting early on being an esports streamer, you're doing everything yourself, you're learning everything yourself, and you're playing the game at the same time. So technology obviously has improved, and there's all sorts of macros you can do and everything to do that, but you're learning the technology while you're playing the game, and that's an important part to speak on as well.
And we're seeing two levels for eSport. Obviously, it's pro and it's college level. We're covering college teams playing against each other and a few high schools. And so it's about really multi-camera because you need to have cameras not only on the commentators, because they're commentators, and you need to have cameras on each team or team members, and then the audience, and then bring in the graphics of the game. So it's a really very sophisticated production, and we're seeing at the high school level. We're also seeing teams doing esports and practicing. We have a few new coaching features that allow not just baseball and basketball and volleyball, use it for real-time analysis. Now I have esport teams with the coaches watching the players and taking advantage of multi-screen, frame-by-frame scrub in slow motion, and the coaches are giving feedback to the players on every single move, not just the graphics of the game, but also the hand movements. So it's getting down to as sophisticated as football or any of the major sports.
I can't believe that there's scholarship opportunities. I mean, I guess I'm living in a hole. So there are actual scholarship opportunities and collegiate level teams.
Yep.
So I'm going to go back to athletic department directors, if that's okay. So athletic departments have a responsibility to support athletes. That's their job, right? And an athletic department director may have 10, 12, 20 teams that they're responsible for. Jim, we met with one of them, and I think the biggest takeaway from the SAR high school that we were at was that the athletic directors are taking the video footage and looking back at it and helping the athletes improve. And I think that was one of my biggest takeaways. Are the athletic directors, they seem to be really happy with the ability to record these sporting events. What was your takeaway from some of the athletic directors? I'm sure you've all worked with them. What are they thinking about live streaming and getting that video and helping their teams become more competitive?
Well, I think like a lot of fields, one of the biggest things in sports is analytics. And when you have video to analyze how the players are playing, how the game developed, how can we become a better team, then obviously that's a huge resource. So to lead that charge and be able to go over the video with the team, with the coaches, and with other departments, it just builds for a better program and a better community supporting that program, which is critical in schools. As funding gets cut, as everything gets cut, the booster programs become more and more important. So the more you can involve the community, the stronger the program itself becomes.
And really, we think about, at this show, you want to have multi-camera because it's that professional look that we're all used to when we're watching sports on TV. But that same holds true for the coaches, is they get those additional angles as well, and that's important. What we see often driving it with our customers is they start streaming and it's a one camera shoot maybe, and then the next year they want to do a 2-camera shoot because the coach is like, oh, can I get this too? Can I see this while it's happening? Can I see the scoreboard while the game's going on? Things like that, and then it just progresses from there. And really, it's to help the broadcast, but it's also to help the coaches and the student athletes.
I'm interested what you guys think about the future of this, secondary education, streaming, sports. Is there any trends that you're seeing? Is there anything you've seen at NAB or any technology you and your organizations are opening up soon that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I would say it's adding analytics, right? And all these teams, not just Division I teams, but high schools, are bringing analytics into the game. And so into the practicing, into the game analysis. And so you need to be able to do that, and what Sling Studio allows you to do is not only bring in the analytics, but multi-camera that's in sync with the analytics, and we have a new feature that allows you to do real-time coaching, as well as you can be streaming the game and doing that independent with one solution. So I would say that's number one. And I would say, the other thing that's really pushing the envelope is two-way and remote coaching. It sounds kind of funny, but when you're a coach and you cannot travel all the time, or your assistant coaches cannot travel, you want to be able to view the game and be able to do remote coaching, because you want to be able to have the analytics or the video and then give feedback. And so with some of our new features, we allow this notion of remote coaching.
This might be the longest this has taken to come up all day, but I'll say social media. So one of the key things in sports is highlights. And what we're seeing is a push to make that happen faster and faster and faster. And we're actually seeing automated AI-based highlights coming out of these great productions, and being able to tag, hey, it's the replay, we actually want this, and getting it out to social media in 15 seconds or less. I mean, there's some really cool things happening with that.
And I think along with those highlights too, when the high schools and smaller leagues have good broadcast quality footage that they're using to produce their own sporting events, when you get the high school kid that sings a shot from the other side of the court, and that runs on ESPN and news that same evening in broadcast quality, it allows you to elevate your own program and get that highlight out there to share with everyone. So that viral aspect is pushed not only through social media, but through traditional broadcast channels as well.
So I'm wondering if you guys have had an aha moment with a coach or an athletic director where it was the point where they realized, wow, this is really helping the school, really helping the students. I know for me personally, when I was talking with some of the schools as we were preparing for the book that I just released, the Accelerated Broadcast Club curriculum, a lot of the broadcast clubs are having the students run the streams. And I could not believe how many stories I heard about athletes calling up the broadcast club and thanking them because they got them a scholarship. And that's one of the ones for me where, wow, these kids who are broadcasting the streams for the athletes, their friends are calling them and saying, you helped me get into college. You helped me get to the scout. And in a lot of instances with live streaming being so new, the broadcast club generally can't actually live stream every game. Right? There's 6 sports teams, 12 sports teams. They're going on the road. They're doing this and that. So they're trying to increase their capabilities and do more. And I'm just wondering, if you guys have had some aha moments where the coach is just so excited, the students excited, because some of this stuff is really exciting at the high school level as students are getting ready to graduate and go to college.
I can share a really cool story along those lines. So we deal with the dealers who are selling the products and installing some of these production systems. And one of our dealers was sharing a story where they were working with an NFL stadium. And as they were installing this huge broadcast system, one of the technical directors went to a local school and saw students running around the bleachers taking reaction video from the fans in the bleachers. And they decided that they wanted to produce that in the stadium and feed it live to the Jumbotron during downtime of the game. And that came from watching a local community event for one of his kids' sports.
Wow.
And it changed the whole direction of how this install went, because now they have to add that live production to the Jumbotron with a different aspect of being able to feed right from the stadium floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think one of the benefits that everyone I've ever talked to in the athletic director space at high school that gets into live streaming sees is that they're broadening the reach of the potential recruiting for the student athletes. So in the past, especially if you're playing at a really small school, you have a geographic region where the coaches may know your coach or something like that. But now with these live stream, obviously it's live stream, but VOD and being able to create highlight reels and stuff, it really increases the recruiting radius for these student athletes and really gives them more opportunities than they've ever had.
I would say the two aha moments for myself would be, one, because our Sling Studio is wireless and portable, it takes a few minutes to set up. So when I go to schools and visit them using the product, they're covering not just football and the major sports, but then they're covering wrestling or field hockey or water polo or swimming. And the students are so excited, and so are the parents, because now for the first time, the parents and the grandparents can watch video of their kids for these sports that normally don't get the attention, but because it's so easy to set up, they're able to cover the sport. So that's number one. And the other one is monetization. I have high schools throughout the country that are taking advantage of the live streaming, and they're using the graphics and all the other features that we have, and they're making thousands of dollars per game through sponsorship. So they're making their annual fundraising for the entire sports program with a couple of football games and a couple other games.
So when you're talking about monetization, you're talking about ad opportunities along with maybe private streams?
It's a combination of both, but I would say mostly it's ads and just graphics.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I don't know if anyone else is willing to mention, but I was very much surprised. There's a school called the Palmetto Tigers. They're one of the top 10 high schools in the country, and that's how they fund all of their broadcasting equipment. It ends up giving sponsors a very interesting venue for localized content, because a lot of local businesses are really trying to reach out to the parents and possibly the students, but generally the parents and the faculty at these high schools in a localized session. There's really no other, it's a brand new opportunity for local businesses to reach these types of audiences. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Jeff, because that's really an interesting topic.
Yeah, we see on our streaming platform side, a lot of our high schools are doing the pay-per-view. So there's obviously opportunities to create revenue there, but having things like pre-roll available to them and ad space, the basic leaderboard ads below a video player, they can really turn into dollars for these high school programs. And then what they like to do is take that money, invest it back into equipment, better broadcast, more controls that they can have, and move forward from there.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. This has been such a great conversation.
Our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. You've been watching the official NAB show live, brought to you by Broadcast Beat. It's been such a fun broadcast talking about how high schools are live streaming sports, creating opportunities for athletes, for students, for broadcast clubs, and it's all brought to you here at NAB Show Live. Thank you for watching.
This hour is sponsored by Roughly, the video news agency.
This is NAB Show Live.
I'm Ryan Salazar, and today we're talking about repack with Bruce Swale, CEO at Gates Air. How you doing, Bruce?
Very well, thanks, Ryan. Good to meet you.
It's good to be with you and good to chat. We love talking about technology and different changes in our industry, especially leading into NAB show. The 2019 NAB show is going to be quite exciting. So with repack moving quickly towards phase 3, what concerns are on the top of mind of broadcasters moving into new channels, and how is VTO addressing this?
Well, there's a lot going on, as you well know. We've been very busy here.
Want a picture with Jude?
100 transmitters and in excess of 6 trillion watts of transmission power for the repack.
Are you just getting a picture, or is Paul getting in there?
Why would you put Tess in there? We're producing transmitters at 3 times our normal run rate.
Favorite makeup artist. Heck yeah.
It's taken an enormous amount of planning.
There you go. Paul? Hey, Paul, you want to get in? Get in here. Because she did so well. There you go.
The lighting's okay there, right?
Yeah, it was perfect. I don't feel like mounting this again. So
do it or what? You
sure.
Greater than normal inventory.
Here's the hair.
Thanks.
I'm really proud of the team here.
I'm just gonna nod it, I think.
Yeah, just nod it. We'll just do it that way for now.